Hey y'all, welcome back to the party. It is me, your girl BrittReacts, and today we're going to react to more of the View drama. This is Joe Rogan calls out Whoopi Goldberg over Tucker Carlson's explosive lawsuit against her. Yikes, let's see what's going on.
Welcome back. Word has just come down that Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. Thank you for his service to the network and host of the prior contributor. Wave.
Like, he used him as his puppet, and it exposed what many of us have been saying about Tucker Carlson. He's a Kremlin puppet who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
It's just such a disgrace, I think, to our country that an American would give him any kind of platform to propagandize.
Wait. If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I think Sonny's dumb. But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly.
Joe Rogan just cracked open the gates of media mayhem, and Whoopi Goldberg might want to log off for the foreseeable future.
Oh.
What began as Tucker Carlson launching a $100 million defamation lawsuit turned into a spectacle of cosmic proportions, complete with Rogan flying in like a philosophical WWE wrestler with a mic in one hand and a legal dictionary in the other. As Whoopi clutched her pearls and clung to daytime relevance, Rogan unleashed the verbal equivalent of a tactical nuke. And suddenly the internet went from a simmer to a full-on boil. What did Rogan say? Why is Whoopi trending for all the wrong reasons? And how did this daytime debate morph into a defamation deathmatch? Buckle up. This isn't just drama. It's a satirical symphony of ego, outrage, and accidental comedy gold.
Accidental comedy gold. All right, so we reacted to a clip of another one of these like compilation videos, but it was with Joe Rogan and Megan. Why can't I think of her name? I'm looking right at her face in my head. Megyn Kelly. Jeez Louise. Two first names. And what I can gather, or really not even what I can gather, I just don't understand. Let's be clear about something. I think all of us can be reminded of this. Opinion is not fact. How you feel about something does not make it a fact. Sit with that. My opinions don't mean they are factual. Your opinions don't mean it's fact. It's just your opinion. There may be some, there may be facts there, but I'm just saying, like, I don't have to watch something and be like, oh, well, she said it, so it must be true. Oh, well, she's on TV, so it must be true. And I think the women of The View have lost sight of this, is that they say it. They have an audience who is literally there to cheer them on. That's like literally, these people get tickets to these shows and they're fans, so they're going to cheer them on. However, the issue with that is then you get these egomaniacs on this panel who think they can say, spew, blurt out anything, and it is to be taken at fact and face value. And that's just simply not what it is. And I think I said it on the last video, they have got to reel these women in. They've got to reel them in because they do have an audience. They have an audience of people who think like them and think what they say is true. And that is dangerous. It's dangerous on The View. It's dangerous on Fox News. It's dangerous on CNN. It's dangerous across the board. So yeah, this lawsuit thing is, Whoopi and they've been all over the news. Like, maybe it's time to go on a vacation. Maybe we need to roll the summer, re-air some things for longer and give them some time to regroup. I don't know.
They're disgusting. She's Anna Navarro in your wildest imagination. You could never solo host a show. You will only ever make it as part of an ensemble, and you could never hope to achieve the success that Tucker Carlson has. So you can sit in your little cheap seats all day long and enjoy your little negative henpecking, but your careers are going nowhere, and Tucker is about to dominate in whatever space.
Enter The View, America's favorite coven of televised indignation, where political commentary collides with performance art in an estrogen-fueled whirlwind of finger-pointing and self-congratulation. Gathered around their sacred coffee chalices, the panelists prepared to dissect world events with the precision
I also want to be clear about this. Outside of The View, I actually never had an issue with Whoopi. I like Whoopi. I like her as an artist, as an actress. I've never had an issue with her, but I think she is the one who is pegged the leader of the show. And I think she could do a better job of just being more open and less biased, because I do think sometimes it can be detrimental and hurtful to people who, you know, they genuinely don't know any better. And The View is maybe the only thing they watch. And it's like, you don't even give these people a chance to have their own opinion. Yours is so strong. And wrong a lot. Like, how are you so loud and so wrong? And again, I actually like this human being. I just don't like her on The View.
Virgin-fueled whirlwind of finger-pointing and self-congratulation. Gathered around their sacred coffee chalices, the panelists prepared to dissect world events with the precision of a BuzzFeed personality quiz. And who better to lead the charge than Whoopi Goldberg, beloved for her role in Sister Act, infamous for defending Roman Polanski, and now self-appointed gatekeeper of constitutional morality. If Aristotle had a migraine and turned on daytime TV, this is what he'd find. Righteousness on tap and fact-checking left on the cutting room floor.
Whoopi Goldberg said?
What'd she say?
Whoopi Goldberg said that Biden could arrest all the Republicans and put them in jail. You just need to see how unhinged this kind of thinking is. Well, you know what Joe Biden could do? Joe Biden, you have to see it, because it's so
on TV.
crazy.
She said
on television.
You know, just let's look at a scenario where the Supreme Court says, yes, he has all those rights. He is immune from everything. Yeah. You know what Joe Biden could do since he is presently president?
What?
Whoa. He could throw
The discussion, or whatever you call a verbal bar fight with cameras, was supposed to touch on Tucker Carlson's recent hot takes about border chaos, Ukraine, and possibly Area 51, depending on how apocalyptic his last monologue felt. But within seconds, it spiraled faster than Joy Bihar's eyeliner in a heat wave. Whoopi wielding...
Do they intentionally mispronounce their names, or is this just like the AI lady? She can't help it. That was wild.
It spiraled faster than Joy Bihar's eyeliner in a heat wave.
And Whoopi.
Whoopi, wielding legal knowledge reminiscent of a horoscope app, declared that Carlson wasn't just wrong, he was an existential threat to the Republic. Code red, DFCON1. According to Whoopi, disagreeing with The View isn't a difference of opinion. It's basically an act of domestic terrorism. Apparently, citing the Constitution is now grounds for arrest if you do it with a tone she doesn't like.
If I may, I'm amazed at the level of self-projection going on here. I mean, Alicia, you work for ABC. Tucker works for himself. Objectively, you are a puppet and he's not. And Sonny, you're basically saying that Tucker shouldn't be allowed to have a voice. That's the opposite of the democracy that you preach every time we are here. And finally, none of you had any examples on what Tucker has said that was a lie or propaganda. But I'm too nice, so I will give you another chance. Give me some specific examples to back your claims. Let's go.
Was this edited? Is that an AI person? What was that just now? What did I just watch?
And of course, the rest of the panel couldn't resist the siren call of sanctimony. Joy Bihar, eager to play deputy in this fantasy courtroom, labeled Carlson public enemy #1 with all the nuance of a motivational quote on a wine tumbler. Sonny hosted and followed, swinging the gavel of justice like someone who just discovered Wikipedia. What was meant to be a discussion turned into a kangaroo court drenched in caffeine and chaos, with each panelist tripping over the next to deliver the spiciest condemnation. Forget discourse, this was daytime drama dressed up as democracy. And somewhere between the latte sips and shouty sound bites, the line between opinion and accusation evaporated.
The fans, the real fans of The View that are like, oh, these ladies are on point. Most of those people can't leave the house. Like, they're probably...
Right.
I do agree that their audience is a very specific group of women. It is. I think it's a very specific group of women that they are all just like-minded. And I think the best thing about the generations after the women at this table are not afraid to feel and think and find out on their own. Millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, like, I think it is okay to say, I grew up in a house that believed one thing and I totally disagree, or I want to figure out for myself. And I think we are still, I mean, even the lawmakers, the politicians that we're seeing kind of starting to phase out, they're aging out. These are people who are stuck in their ways and they just would rather put their feet in cement than make room for anything different, because it's all they know. And that's just how these people were raised. It's like, that's it. But the world is changing in the way of wrong is being called out, wrong is not being tolerated, and people are changing their minds. And there's just no space for that on The View. Like, they don't allow any grace, any compassion, any room for people to be like, you know what? Let me think on that. It's like, no, if you disagree, you're wrong. And here's why you're wrong. And da-da-da-da-da. And we're going to attack it. And it's like, but there's a very targeted audience for that. And The View has that. And whether it's right or wrong, it's the truth. They have an audience. It's the reason why they are on season 200 BC, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I do think that it's dangerous. It's detrimental. And it's not... There's very little positivity that can come from a situation like that, in my opinion.
They're like, oh, these ladies are on point. Most of those people can't leave the house. Like, they're probably immobile.
Right. Because
that was a hard cider that I got from my farmer's market this morning. It's literally like hard apple cider. It literally has 0% alcohol in it, if you were wondering.
Most of those
Maybe
people
2%.
can't leave the house. Like, they're probably immobile.
Right. Because their mom's taking their kids to school, and that's
It's a very strange show, but it's fun to watch. It's just fun to watch them.
It's good entertainment.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Well, they're just, it's interesting because I think Sunny's very intelligent, but she's ideologically captured.
Right.
That's sort of,
I think such a good
the other ones, there's a couple of the other ones don't have to name any names, are just very dull-minded.
While The View was busy combusting live on air, Twitter erupted like it had been force-fed a gallon of espresso.
Oh.
Memes flew faster than Whoopi could say, allegedly.
Oh.
Supporters of Carlson didn't just clutch their pearls, they filed them into legal daggers. Lawyers, real and pretend, stormed the digital courtroom with fury. To some, it was classic Whoopi, loud, smug, and blissfully unconcerned with the legal implications of her mouth. Others raised eyebrows higher than Sunny Hostin's latest Botox attempt. The concern, that Whoopi's rant might not just be unhinged, it might be legally actionable. When you go on national TV and call someone a criminal without evidence, you're not speaking truth to power, you're inviting a lawsuit. And that's exactly what Tucker Carlson's team of Fox News-educated sharks began assembling with glee.
In fairness, though, I mean, The View has to be, if you average out The View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I don't think some of them are dumb.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Sunny Hostin's
You think it's deliberate?
I think she's ideologically driven, and they have
Why do they always play the same
blinders on, for sure.
clip?
I don't think Sunny's dumb. But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it. And
Suddenly, the stage was set for one of the wildest defamation suits in TV history. Tucker Carlson, armed with a legal team and a vengeance colder than Megyn Kelly's side eye, filed a $100 million complaint dripping with allegations of slander and reputational evisceration. And then, because the universe craved more chaos, Joe Rogan waltzed in like a bald oracle of truth wearing flip-flops and carrying a flamethrower. Rogan torched The View like a comic roasting a retirement home staff meeting. He mocked the panel's attempt at legal analysis as if they were boomers role-playing as constitutional scholars.
Boomers role-playing as constitutional scholars. Bar. That was a rap bar. That was poetry. I do think it's all entertainment, and I think production pushes for them to be as polarizing and scandalous as possible until they forgot to say allegedly, and then, fix it. Damage control.
At legal analysis as if they were boomers role-playing as constitutional scholars. According to Rogan, listening to Whoopi talk law is like watching someone try to explain Wi-Fi to a toaster. And America loved it. The memes, the roasts, the takedowns, it was a digital field day. Carlson had dropped a legal bomb, but Rogan turned it into a roast session for the ages.
Question is then, is that representative of a big constituency? I think probably yes.
Well, a lot of
MSNBC viewers are probably also thinking,
I don't even think the MSNBC viewers. I think they're a little bit more sophisticated than that.
Yeah.
This is like low information, blue no matter who, like older housewives who are mad at the world.
Oh,
that's the appeal that Whoopi Goldberg has.
Yeah.
Does Whoopi have children?
Yeah, she has a daughter.
No idea.
She has a daughter.
It's interesting too.
Right?
Doesn't
Whoopi have a... Hey, Siri. Does Whoopi Goldberg have a daughter? I feel like Whoopi Goldberg has a daughter.
Whoopi Goldberg's daughter is Alex Martin.
Yeah. She's an actress and film producer. Yeah. She's 52. I know something.
Does Whoopi have children?
No idea.
It's interesting too, like really politically motivated older women who don't have children.
Yeah.
They're very specific. Like you can kind of guess the way they.
In a plot twist worthy of Succession, The View's cozy coffee clatch more.
I feel like that was a reach of a generalization. I don't know if that's fair to say. I also don't know if it was fair. He earlier said, the other guy on Joe Rogan's podcast also said, like, it's all the moms taking their kids to school. I no longer take my daughter to school because she's homeschooled, but I resent that because if The View was ever on my TV, it was like background noise and it like just happened to come on. You know what I mean? Like you turn the TV on in the morning to make a smoothie or something. So I resent those generalizations, but it's fine. But again, they do have a specific audience, so I'll give them that. I also think Joe does a good job of not being disrespectful. Like the other guy called them stupid, and he's like, no, I do think they're a little dull. I just think Joe, at least in this topic, I've not seen him get disrespectful where these women sling mud and, it's like, but if the men of whatever station or channel or, podcast that you're talking about were to call you the names that you're calling them, outrage. It's always the double standard, right?
Yeah.
They're very specific. Like you can kind of guess the way they.
In a plot twist worthy of Succession, The View's cozy coffee clatch morphed into a courtroom melodrama. Carlson didn't just sue, he detonated a legal warhead. His complaint accused the panelists of conducting a live television hit job, complete with defamation, character assassination, and intellectual malpractice. Did anybody listen to them? The tone wasn't playful, sarcastic, or even vaguely editorial. It was pure condemnation with a studio audience. Joy Behar labeled Carlson a threat like she was ordering from a menu of insults, and Whoopi's calls for arrest weren't theoretical. They were presented with the gravity of a Supreme Court decision read by a woman wearing sneakers. Carlson's team argued that these weren't opinions. They were televised executions of character, with no disclaimers, no filters, and no journalistic cushion. It wasn't just a PR problem. It was potentially a legal landslide.
Ladies try to deplatform me all the time. I think they should be deplatformed. I think the best way to counter bad opinions is with good.
Carlson's lawsuit claims the damages go far beyond bruised ego. From professional losses to personal threats, he says The View turned his public image into a piñata and everyone got a swing. And when national TV tells millions that someone should be handcuffed for talking too much, it turns out courts might want receipts. Meanwhile, media reactions split like Whoopi's wig under stage lights. Some said Carlson was a snowflake in a suit. Others whispered that The View might have finally outraged themselves into actual legal trouble. And then there was Rogan charging back into the discourse with flamethrower sarcasm. He mocked Whoopi's grasp of law like it was a bad SNL sketch. Watching her talk legal strategy is like watching a dog try to recite Hamlet, he quipped. According to Rogan, The View isn't a panel. It's a demolition derby where logic goes to die and opinions crash like shopping carts.
The show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true.
They get so much hate watching and hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies-infested hen house.
For once, the internet found something approaching bipartisan unity. Rogan on
Didn't I just say this man was being polite? I take that back.
For once, the internet found something approaching bipartisan unity. Rogan on his podcast didn't just dip into the topic, he cannonballed in like a philosopher brawler with nothing to lose. Between elk jerky and UFO theories, he served up a scorched earth takedown of Whoopi and company.
Whoopi.
So now Whoopi's the oracle of justice, he asked, eyes wide with Fogg's reverence. Apparently, the fate of democracy hinges on how many oatlats she's had. He mocked their trademark outrage, calling The View a daytime Emmys audition for women who yell at clouds. But Rogan wasn't just joking. He stood up for Carlson, not because he's a fan, but because free speech matters. If yelling arrest him becomes normal, he warned comedians and podcasts.
Out of all the clips of Joe Rogan, I'm just confused on why they keep playing this clip of him in the airport. What's the significance?
Are next. His message was clear. This isn't about Carlson. It's about who gets silenced next.
You, by the way, she left The View.
Well, she's free to be on your show now.
We wish her well.
Imagine you as her on your show interviewing her.
I would love to interview her as her, but I think there's such a
small chance.
So
you're saying there's a chance
that's going to happen? Yes, there is a chance, but it's not big.
What if I helped her? What if I was there? What if I was there like as a moderator?
Any you want to organize it, I'll show up.
I would do it.
I absolutely
But
will
you and her
show up.
together on the show.
Well, I don't think I should do it the whole time, but I think it'd be fun to interview her for 5 minutes and then say, "Hey, Megan,
I was Googling who left The View. Who is he talking about? Sarah Haynes left to join the Good Morning America segment with Michael Strahan. Paula Ferris also left the show. It's like a revolving door for real. Like they can't keep a host. And Joy is leaving. Is that what I'm seeing? Oh Lord. Just
And
shut
I
the
also
show
hate
down.
Joy Behar. So I don't love you, but I also hate that squawking
it says
bird.
she's not
So
leaving.
I hate the whole.
Then came Rogan's closing
Squawking
act,
bird.
a comedic execution so brutal it should come with a viewer discretion warning. He squinted, mimicked Whoopi's grimace, and deadpanned, "Next week on The View. Arrest Joe Rogan for having muscles and a podcast." The studio audience and the internet erupted. Whoopi predictably responded on air with the shaky confidence of someone reading a speech written by a fortune cookie. Her rebuttal was part sass, part fog, and entirely ineffective. A shrug wrapped in self-importance, garnished with "because I'm on TV." But the internet wasn't buying it. Social media lit her up like a Christmas tree powered by righteous snark. Ratings dipped, memes multiplied, producers side-eyed the panic button. What started as performative outrage turned into a masterclass in how not to handle media backlash. Rogan didn't just criticize The View, he reframed the entire fiasco. This wasn't right versus left. This was reality versus daytime delusion. In the final act of this absurd drama, Rogan wasn't just the narrator, he was the scalpel dissecting the bloated corpse of daytime TV hypocrisy. And The View? They were left scrambling for dignity somewhere between the teleprompter and the green room bagels.
Who is writing the script on these things? What is the lesson we learned here today, class? Keep it cute or put it on mute. All right, I'll talk to y'all in the comments. You know the drill. Go and have the day you deserve. Bye.